We reached the old wolf in time to watch a fierce green fire dying in her eyes. I thought that because fewer wolves meant more deer, that no wolves would mean a hunter's paradise. But after seeing the green fire die, I sensed that neither the wolf nor the mountain agreed with such a view. Those words were spoken by Aldo Leopold in his essay, Thinking Like a Mountain. Leopold's view of predators was evolving into a new way of viewing wolves. He soon became an outspoken advocate for the presence of large predators as a vital part of a healthy ecosystem. The founders of the modern conservation movement, such as Leopold and John Muir, saw an intrinsic value in all of nature. All life is essential for a healthy ecosystem, and each member serves its purpose. If any are removed, the ecosystem will fail. The science of wildlife management was emerging. Leopold's desire to see wolves remain as apex predators did not come to fruition. Congress authorized the Bureau of Biological Survey to exterminate wolves and other predators, which led to the systematic killing of gray wolves in the western United States. By the mid-1920s, no wolves remained in Yellowstone. The collapse of an ecosystem and loss of biodiversity was imminent. Elk populations exploded, wreaking havoc on deciduous trees such as aspen, cottonwood, and willow. Without these trees to support them, songbird populations declined, and beavers were unable to create their dams, which cold-water fish depend on for survival. Overbrowsing by deer, elk, and moose reduced the variety of flora and fauna, causing soil erosion, and eliminated habitat for smaller species such as rabbits, weasels, and foxes. In 1973, Congress passed the Endangered Species Act, requiring authorities to conserve threatened and endangered species with the ultimate goal of restoration and removal from the list. A recovery plan for the gray wolf was drawn up, but it was met with fear by local communities, especially those who owned livestock. They believed their livelihood depended on the eradication of predators from the area. The process of reintroduction stalled due to political maneuvering and calls for more research. Lawsuits were filed to prevent reintroduction, further delaying the process. The challenges of equity, especially regarding human fears that wolves would impact their livelihoods, had to be addressed. People were frightened for the safety of their livestock, their pets, and even their children and themselves. Though wolf attacks on humans are incredibly rare, the argument regarding livestock predation was valid. A reimbursement program was designed to compensate livestock owners for any losses caused by wolves. In 1994, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service reached a compromise to reintroduce wolves to Yellowstone by classifying them as experimental and non-essential. This meant that the wolves would not have the full protection of the Endangered Species Act. Any wolf venturing outside the protected confines of Yellowstone would be treading in hostile territory. In the winter of 1995 to 1996, 31 wolves were released within the boundaries of Yellowstone National Park. 10 more were added in 1997. Over the next 25 years, the wolves flourished, and their populations increased and divided into 8 separate packs within the park. In the greater Yellowstone area, approximately 760 wolves, including 51 breeding pairs, roam free today. With the reintroduction of wolves, the disastrous effects of overbrowsing by elk were finally kept in check. The wolves accomplished this not only by preying on the elk to thin the herd, but by creating a landscape of fear. With predators nearby, the herds no longer stayed in one area. Instead, they were kept on the move, constantly on the lookout for wolves. Trees such as the willow increased by 100%. Tree heights increased for all aspens, willows, and cottonwoods, leading to an increased habitat for songbirds. The beavers returned to build their dams, decreasing soil erosion and raising water tables that in turn provided habitat for otters, fish, amphibians, ducks, and other wetland species. Riparian vegetation increased, providing stability for stream banks. This effect narrowed the river channels and placed the flow on a more direct course and enhanced pool-riffle morphology that provides ideal habitat for aquatic life. Through predation on coyotes, the number of rabbits and rodents increased, providing food for hawks, foxes, and badgers. Scavengers such as ravens and bald eagles benefit from the subsidies provided by wolf kills. Berry-producing shrubs no longer overeaten by elk contribute to the diets of birds and bears, who act as seed spreaders, dispersing new vegetation throughout the park. With the successful recovery of riparian plant diversity, all of which absorb and store carbon dioxide, the return of Yellowstone's apex predator may help to buffer the effects of climate change. Wolf-related tours bring in $22 to $48 million per year to the greater Yellowstone area, while compensation to farmers for lost livestock totals approximately $130,000 each year. Understanding the interactions between humans and nature allows for local variation in reintroduction and wildlife management. Without this understanding, this success might not have been possible. By addressing human concerns and altering their plan to include livestock reimbursement and reassurances for local communities, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service likely saved the lives of many wolves. Had the community not had their fears addressed, they might have taken measures to eradicate wolves a second time. Due to careful management, the gray wolf was delisted in Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, and is now subject to managed hunting in these states. However, hunting within the bounds of Yellowstone National Park is still prohibited. Unfortunately, not everyone is celebrating the recovery of wolf populations. Careful management is necessary to continue to preserve this iconic species and allow the benefits it provides our ecosystem to continue. In 2005, the Nez Perce tribe began a collaboration with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to manage gray wolf recovery in Idaho to restore the cultural values their tribe associates with wolves. The Nez Perce revere the wolf as a brother, guide, and teacher, and the survival of the wolf is seen as the survival of the tribe itself. Thanks to their management strategies, 1,500 wolves now live free in Idaho. Incorporating traditional ecological knowledge could be an integral part of managing predator species in the future. The current system focuses on data-driven science and ignores the ethical and spiritual values assigned to the human-animal relationship utilized by indigenous people. With a holistic approach that incorporates tribal spiritual values into a predator management program, new strategies to resolve predator-human conflicts could be established. Indigenous people coexisted with wolves, bears, and other predators for hundreds of years before European settlers arrived. Their traditional belief system might hold the key to human-wildlife interactions in the future.